He wasn't supposed to be out that long. I stood outside the house for hours, thinking I'd see him running back. Maybe he got distracted. Maybe he lost the change. That's what I told myself. That's what police told me too. Children wander off. Don't worry, he'll be back by morning. Morning turned into weeks, then months. I put up posters, knocked on every door in the town. I even searched the drains myself. No one helped. They looked at me like I was mad, but I could feel it, that something evil had taken him. And then one day, they called me to the police station. Said they found bones, small bones. A red shirt, my son's shirt, folded inside a sack like garbage, buried behind a white bungalow where the rich people lived. Do you know what that feels like? To be told, your child just didn't die. He was butchered, cut into pieces, burned, thrown away like filth. And still, they protect the powerful. Still they say, lack of evidence. What more do they need? A video? A receipt? There were bones. There was blood. But there is no justice. Not for people like us. Somewhere in the shadows of Noida's Sector 31, just a short walk from bustling marketplace, sat a modest white bungalow. From the outside, it was ordinary, almost forgettable. But behind its locked doors and curtained windows, the walls hid a story soaked in unimaginable horror. For years, no one questioned the strange smells. No one noticed the children who vanished, until the drains began to clog, and the truth began to rot its way to the surface. This wasn't just a crime. It was a slaughterhouse hiding in plain sight. And by the time the nation looked inside, what they found buried beneath the tiles would haunt India forever. This is the story of Nithari Killings, one of the darkest chapters in Indian true crime history. It all began suddenly, between 2004 and 2006. Children started disappearing in Nithari, a village nestled near the wealthy suburbs of Noida. Most were poor. Most were never seen again. Families, daily wage laborers, domestic helpers and migrants went to the police with desperate pleas. But every time, they were dismissed. Runaways, they were told. Go look in the slums. There were no investigations, no searches, just silence. Until one day, a grieving father, whose daughter had vanished months ago, returned with a photograph and a threat to go to the media. That photograph would blow up in a case that the police had been willfully ignoring for years. At the center of it all was a man named Moninder Singh Pandher, a businessman with money, connections, and a seemingly respectable life. His servant, Surinder Koli, was often seen doing errands, wandering the narrow lanes of Nithari. No one imagined that the very house they passed every day, D5, would become India's house of horrors. It was December 2006 when the police, under pressure from the public outrage, finally entered the premises. What they found inside was beyond comprehension. Bones, so many bones, stuffed in gunny bags, buried in shallow pits, hidden behind the house. Human remains, mostly of children, torsos without limbs, skulls without names. Interrogation of Surinder Koli revealed a nightmare that spiraled into the grotesque. He confessed to luring children into the house, sometimes with sweets, sometimes with false promises. Once inside, they were strangled, raped, mutilated, and in some cases, cannibalized. Koli admitted to eating body parts, storing the flesh in the fridge, and dumping the rest in the drain behind the house. The sheer cruelty and ritualistic nature of murders sparked a storm of national outrage. But was Koli acting alone, or was Pandher more involved than he let on? As the case unfolded, so did the chaos. Koli confessed under the police custody, but many questioned the credibility of his confession. Moninder Singh Pandher was initially absolved of all knowledge, but as more bodies were identified and more families came forward, the conspiracy seemed too large for one man to execute. Accusations of political interference, mishandled evidence, and deliberate police negligence swirled around the case. Pandher and Koli were both sentenced to death multiple times across different cases. But in 2023, the Allahabad High Court shocked the nation by acquitting both men in 12 of the murders, citing a lack of evidence and procedural lapses. The public was left asking, how could a crime so brutal, so clear, be washed away in court? The true tragedy of Nithari isn't just in the crimes, it's in how easily the victims were ignored. Poor children from marginalized families were considered disposable by the very system meant to protect them. Their disappearances were not investigated, their cries were not heard, and even after the truth surfaced, justice came slowly, and perhaps never at all. The alley outside D5 has since returned to quiet. A new family lives there now. But for the parents who still wake up in the middle of the night, hoping to hear their child's voice, the horror never ended. It only faded from the headlines. We often think monsters hide in the forests, in haunted ruins, in myths, passed down through generations. But in Nithari, the monster lived in a house, like yours, behind a locked gate, wearing a calm smile, waiting. And the saddest part, no one listened, until the smell of death could no longer be ignored. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay cautious. Until next time on Reaper Files.